I'm Portia. This is my wife, Ellen.
Hi. We've been together for 16 years. We've been married for 12 years.
The world beheld the love story of Portia de Rossi and her companion. However, now that her divorce has finalized, she is prepared to reveal the truth. When asked about love, grief, and the future, what profound revelations and honest assessments does she have to offer? Then let's begin. The life of Portia de Rossi starts in a sleepy Australian village, far from the glitter of Hollywood. She came from a humble background as a little girl named Amanda Lee Rogers. Things appeared to be going swimmingly until disaster hit. Poor Portia lost her dad, Barry Rogers, when she was just 9 years old. A child's world can be turned upside down when they lose a parent when they are young. It was the beginning of Portia's never-ending battle for self-discovery and acceptance. Her mom, Margaret, was a receptionist at doctor's offices. She was left to support her family alone after her father went away. The Geelong neighborhood of Grovedale was Portia's home as a kid. She began her career as a model for print and television ads, but she always felt awkward in front of the camera. Amidst the tremendous burden of loss and doubt, she was a small girl trying to figure out who she was. Portia made decisions about her future at 15 years old that she didn't quite comprehend at the time. She took the Italian surname de Rossi and the name Portia from a Shakespearean character as a means of escaping her traumatic background. It was like losing one skin and sprouting another. For her, changing her name was more than just a cosmetic adjustment. It was a radical act that few would comprehend. She got her acting start with a bit part in the 1994 Australian film Sirens. But it wasn't until she relocated to Los Angeles that her career really took off. The trip, however, was far from easy. She tried her hardest to change her accent from Australian so she could fit in better with Hollywood, but she still had trouble landing gigs. In 1998, she got her big break when she was cast as Ally McBeal's Nell Porter. A huge weight was lifted off Portia's shoulders as she was thrust into the spotlight by this monumental event. Beneath her famous exterior, Portia had a secret that burdened her more than any screenplay could. She lived in constant fear that someone would discover her sexual orientation in a field that wasn't always accepting of individuals who didn't conform. She was afraid of what may happen if she came out as she really was. Regardless of her personal struggles, Portia's career kept booming. She became even more famous after joining the cast of Arrested Development in 2003 in the role of Lindsay Bluth Funke. However, she had a troubled personal life behind the scenes. She wed director Mel Metcalfe in 1996. But love did not inspire the union. In hindsight, she recognized that it was an effort to obtain a green card that ultimately failed. She felt much more disoriented once the relationship ended in 1999. Director Francesca Gregorini was Portia's boyfriend from the year 2000 till 2004. Even then, she still couldn't have the courage to come out as gay in public. There was an overwhelming sense of dread of rejection and scorn. Portia didn't begin to perceive a light at the end of the tunnel until she met Ellen DeGeneres in 2004. She found a sense of calm and acceptance from Ellen, who was already well known in the LGBTQ+ community. Portia arrived at her readiness to reveal in 2005. Details and The Advocate conducted interviews in which she discussed her long-lived anxieties and her relationship with Ellen. She felt as if a weight had been removed from her shoulders. With just immediate family and close friends present, they tied the knot in a modest ceremony in Beverly Hills in 2008. Portia felt like she was finally coming into her own after a long period of hiding. However, her battles with self-esteem and eating issues persisted even after her romantic life stabilized. Tragically, Portia's struggles with anorexia and bulimia while she was a cast member on Ally McBeal affected her emotionally. With the release of her memoir, Unbearable Lightness, A Story of Loss and Gain in 2010, she opened up about these harrowing events. Through her remarks, she aspired to assist others who may be facing comparable struggles. Despite the challenges she faced, Portia drew strength from her bond with Ellen and her willingness to let go of her past. After years of reimagining herself, Porsha shocked everyone in 2018 by deciding to retire from acting. Removing herself from the spotlight was a daunting prospect, but she was certain it was the best option. She said it clearly. She was prepared to put Arrested Development in the past, but she would return if necessary. Porsha found comfort in her friendship with Ellen, with whom she shared a deep commitment to animal welfare, away from the camera. From the Gentle Barn to Locks of Love, they rallied behind a number of worthy organizations. These experiences anchored her and provided her with meaning outside of the entertainment industry. The bad side of celebrity nevertheless touched Porsha, as it did many other women in the industry. She came clean about a frightening incident that happened during an audition years ago in 2017. Her secret admirer was actor Steven Seagal. Even though she felt helpless and exposed, Porsha chose not to remain mute in that moment. She wished to inspire other women to follow her example by telling her tale. Ellen was there for her the whole time. She was her spouse, her business associate, and her rock. Not only did two people discover one other in their love tale, but Porsha also found herself. In the past, Porsha has expressed her surprise at how simple it is to love someone. Having overcome her years of insecurity, self-doubt, and constant reinvention, she had finally found a safe space to be authentic, as she shared with Ellen. After spending her life constantly reinventing herself, Portia de Rossi had at last found the one. Something terrible happened to Ellen in 1973. In the year after her parents' separation, they finalized their divorce. Her familiar world broke in half, and she was left to assemble the fragments. Roy Grusendorf was the guy her mother Betty wed shortly after. After Ellen and Betty were married, they uprooted to a tiny Texas town, abandoning her brother Vance in the care of their father. There was more than just physical separation. It ripped a hole in Ellen's soul. Living in Texas didn't alleviate her suffering. On the contrary, it intensified it. A nightmare ensued from what was meant to be a new beginning. The man who ought to have shielded her, Roy, turned predatory instead. By bringing up her mother's battle with breast cancer, he took advantage of Ellen's frailty and violated her. Ellen was wiser than he was when he informed her he needed to feel for lumps. He made too many advances in one night. Without her permission, he attempted to enter her room. "I had to get out. I couldn't breathe," she recalled afterwards. Ellen hid out at a hospital that night in an effort to get away from him. But that wasn't the end of the trauma. For years she hid the secret, and the weight of quiet crushed her spirit. Her mother's reaction was far more devastating when she mustered up the nerve to tell her. Betty was unconvinced. She remained with Roy for a lengthy 18 years, leaving Ellen to cope with the suffering alone. Ellen persisted despite the tumultuous family life. In 1976, she earned her diploma from Atlanta High School, but she quickly lost interest in furthering her education. After enrolled at the University of New Orleans for only one semester, she decided to quit out. She worked odd jobs including selling clothing at JCPenney, waiting tables, and bartending to pay the expenses. Despite the difficulty of the task, Ellen was unable to sit still. She discovered her voice via laughter in the seedy coffee shops and clubs of New Orleans. She found solace in comedy. She got a job as the master of ceremonies at Clyde's Comedy Club in 1981. After 3 years, she won the title of Funniest Person in America on Showtime. When asked about her humble beginnings in comedy, she simply stated, "It was my way of surviving." Ellen found solace in laughter. It served as a shield against pain and a means of connecting with others around her. She continued to climb the comedy ladder, but the scars from her past never really healed. She dove headfirst into her job in an effort to distract herself from the agony. With her 2018 Netflix special Relatable, Ellen made her stage return after a long hiatus from stand-up comedy. She wanted everyone to know that she was still just like them, cracking jokes and smiling all the time. While Ellen was most known for her comedic talents, she also dabbled in acting, appearing in films such as Coneheads and of course providing the iconic voice of Dory in Finding Nemo. She swam through her traumatic memories for years, but there was a remarkable joy in her voice as the forgetful fish. On 1997, Ellen, a sitcom, gave Ellen her big break on television. Her character and she made history by coming out as lesbians. However, everyone wasn't quite prepared. The initial applause quickly turned into criticism, and her event was abruptly canceled. Ellen refused to quit up, even though it was a devastating blow. Even her 2001 return to television with The Ellen Show was short-lived. Even after her comeback to fame on The Ellen DeGeneres Show, speculations persisted that something sinister lurked beneath her perpetually upbeat exterior. Some of her former co-writers said she wasn't as sweet as she seemed. Many began to question whether the woman who danced daily with her audience was concealing anything more than simply anguish as a result of the accusations, which threw a cloud over her career. Still, Ellen's professional life flourished. Her charisma and sense of humor brought her millions of viewers as a talk show host. Some of the more memorable incidents from her show, which became a mainstay on American television, included flying her high school classmates to a reunion. "I always remembered my roots," she would declare. In 2017, despite her rising stardom, Ellen broadened her audience with her humorous show Ellen's Game of Games. But after years of maintaining her pleasant reputation, Ellen started to feel stifled by it. She was having a hard time breaking free of the mask that society had put on her, as reported in a 2018 New York Times feature. By the year 2021, Ellen was fed up. After 19 seasons, she made the announcement that The Ellen DeGeneres Show will be ending. Emotions ran high with the May 2022 airing of the series finale. Through her time on television, she had experienced both joy and sorrow. Even though the show ended, it had a lasting impact on daytime television and her audience. What matters most in Ellen's story is not fame or money, but rather her ability to survive. Among her notable hosting credits is the Academy Awards, where her now iconic selfie with A-list stars went viral and became the most retweeted tweet of all time. She has made significant contributions to causes near and dear to her heart, established a thriving lifestyle business, and spoken out passionately for animal rights. But controversies surround every profession. An internal inquiry and the departure of multiple senior executives occurred in 2020 as a result of allegations of a poisonous work environment on her show. Ellen admitted fault, voiced her displeasure, and promised to put things right. As she famously put it, "I'm not perfect." And in July of 2024, Ellen DeGeneres gave the world a shock when she announced her retirement from television. With those words, "This is the last time you're going to see me," she abruptly ended a golden age. Ellen was finally going away from the limelight after decades of entertaining audiences. The truth is that her trip had full chapters that nobody saw coming, but it seemed like the end of a long novel. Over the years, Ellen achieved extraordinary financial success. Forbes placed her at #12 on their list of the world's highest-paid entertainers in 2020, with an astounding $84 million in earnings. Her $370 million net wealth made her an unstoppable force. She was named the world's 51st most powerful woman in 2015. On the World Pride Power list, she was ranked second as well. She appeared to have it all on paper, but statistics don't reveal the full picture. The celebrity and acclaim were never the only aspects of Ellen's life. She also had an enormous following on social media. She was followed by 55.8 million Instagram users and 76 million Twitter users in August of 2018. Her 75 million Twitter followers were a little declined by November 2023, but her 139 million Instagram followers put her in the top tier of global influencers. Ellen had an obvious reach, yet there was also an air of mystery around her. Ellen enjoyed the National Football League and cheered for the Green Bay Packers and the New Orleans Saints behind the scenes, despite her humorous and outgoing personality. She went so far as to masquerade like Packers great Don Hudson and attend a Saints practice. Her flamboyant personality and her gift for self-deprecation were much beloved by the audience. There was still a difficult aspect to Ellen's life, though, hidden underneath the humorous parts. A decision that rocked Ellen's professional and personal life was her 1997 coming out as a lesbian. She suffered professional setbacks as a result of the subsequent media craze. Betty, Ellen's mother, detailed her first astonishment and subsequent transformation into a fervent champion for LGBTQ+ rights in her memoir, Love, Ellen. During her lowest points, Ellen found solace in her mother's unwavering support. Actress Anne Hecke was Ellen's boyfriend from 1997 to 2000. She dated photographer Alexandra Hedison from their breakup till 2004. However, the following phase of her life would be defined by her relationship with Portia de Rossi, an actor. Finally breaking her silence, Ellen reveals profound feelings and personal challenges after her divorce from Portia de Rossi. Porsha revealed that the year 2000 was at a Hollywood event when she initially met Ellen. Ellen was well known as a comedian and talk show host before she bravely came out as homosexual, a lifestyle choice that wasn't always accepted by society. Porsha was a promising young actress who, at the time, was afraid of the consequences of coming out as gay. There was an electric charge, a connection between them when they first met, but Porsha wasn't prepared to pursue it just yet. Life went on after they exchanged niceties. It was years later before they crossed paths once more. Now that they were both single, it was hard to put off discussing whatever had been on their minds previously. They started dating in 2004, but they kept their relationship a secret. Ellen helped Porsha through the tough transition of living openly while she was still coming to grips with it. Ellen was already out and proud. "I had walls up," Porsha would later admit. For the first time, she felt comfortable enough to relax her guard around Ellen. They seemed destined to meet, and their love was deeper and more intense than any they had experienced before. They became icons of love for the LGBTQ+ community after their relationship went public. Porsha was becoming famous for her part in Arrested Development, and Ellen's career was taking off. It was simple to tell that they were quite close. They were frequently seen at gatherings with their hands in each other's, laughing and clearly enjoying each other's company. In a private, romantic moment at their home, Ellen proposed to Porsha in 2008, following California's decision to lift the ban on same-sex marriage. Their wedding was intimate and lovely, with just close relatives and friends in attendance. They made a solemn promise to support each other no matter what challenges they face in life. Not only did they feel victorious, but so did many others who held them in high esteem. However, things aren't always roses. As far as onlookers could tell, behind all the happy faces and shared laughter, there were real battles against the clock. As Ellen's profession progressed, the associated pressures also increased. Her marriage began to suffer as a result of the constant pressures of her public life. Word got out in 2014 that they were having issues. They were exhausted from being under continual inspection and pressure. Porsha, on the other hand, was facing difficulties of her own. Living in Ellen's shadow added stress to her long-term eating issues. Standing close to an iconic figure like Ellen made it difficult for her to establish her personal space. The pressures of Ellen's job, including her incessant scrutiny and long hours, eventually got to be too much. Even though Ellen was physically present, Porsha frequently had feelings of isolation. There was discussion of Ellen's talk program possibly ending in 2018. Being cheerful all the time was too much for her, and she felt drained from it. "It was only exhaustion," she told Porsha. "There was a fleeting hope that things may turn around." With the hope that they could spend more time together and mend their strained relationship, Porsha was in favor of the plan. Their gap widened as a result of Ellen's decision to prolong her contract. Everything changed once again in 2020 due to the epidemic. Accusations that Ellen had encouraged a hostile work atmosphere surfaced. The media frenzy was intense and pervasive. Despite the immense pressure, Porsha publicly supported Ellen. Behind closed doors, the strain of the controversy and their already troubled relationship started to show. They debated more. Ellen started to display the same obsession with control she had with her public persona at home. Things went wrong. They sought solace in therapy and attempted to communicate their problems in an effort to heal the wounds that had developed over the years, but nothing worked. A love that had previously seemed rock solid is suddenly trembling. Ellen's dogged dedication to her work and Portia's increasing withdrawal from society caused them to grow apart. Their marriage was ultimately unsuccessful. Their once powerful love couldn't sustain them any longer, and they finally had to face this harsh reality after years of trying. They still care for one another, that much is clear, but there are moments when that isn't sufficient. Love alone can't always triumph over adversity. "We tried," Portia said after the split, "but some things are too broken to fix." Instead of a dramatic farewell, their once fairy tale romance ended with a peaceful, sad farewell. Remembering the good times, the laughter, and the memories will last a lifetime. Despite Ellen and Portia's best efforts over many years, they eventually broke up. The gentle elegance that had defined their life together continued into their tale. Their love was profound, but that isn't always enough. Internal strife and external pressure can weaken even the strongest love. There were many happy moments, supportive people, and loving relationships between Portia and Ellen, but some wounds never fully heal. Therefore, getting away from it is the greatest approach to treat it. Isn't that so? Feel free to leave a comment with your opinions and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this one.